we go.
In a letter of support for Steve Konchalski's nomination to the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame, Leo Routens, the current Canadian national team head coach and former national team player under Coach K, wrote the following. He wrote, quote, "Coach K is a humble man. What I will try to take away from knowing Steve, even more than the basketball lessons, will be how to handle myself, my team, my family, and life's challenges the right way with class. That's the way Coach K has handled his entire career," end quote. Steve Konchalski has always exuded class. He was classy when drawn to Acadia by Coach Stu Aberdeen, a man considered as the one who put Nova Scotia basketball on the map because of his intensity and ease of drawing fine players as role models for Nova Scotia youngsters. Steve was fresh from Elmhurst, New York in 1963. He was one of those role models, a top student, a superb athlete, and a gentleman. As a player at Acadia University, he set scoring standards. He won a national championship and was the MVP of that tournament, but his hat size always stayed the same. Former Acadia teammate and opposing coach Brian Heaney speaks fondly of a man who was a mentor.
So I looked up to him as a young player, and he gave me a tremendous sense of confidence that we could win, that he was a leader, and that he was the guy that was the go-to man. And when I was a freshman, he was the go-to player. There was no question about that. And my role in life was to be part of that team, play as hard as I could, and find Konchalski when he was open. And when I did, he knocked down the shot. I mean, he was a great scorer. He was conference's leading scorer, and he had some games in the high 30s and held a scoring record at one time at 41 points. And if I put the ball on the money and it hit his hand, chances are he was going to bury the shot. He was a terrific player.
Steve attended Dalhousie University Law School with every intent of entering the legal profession, but then coaching basketball got in the way.
He knew the game inside out, and he was clearly a student of the game. But Steve was a very intelligent student, and he was one of the leading academics on campus at that time. And when he chose to go to law school and he entered Dalhousie, all of us predicted that he would eventually have a very successful career in law, and could have. Clearly he graduated, and he was about to begin his legal career, but the basketball bug had bitten him a long time before.
He coached briefly at Loyola College in Montreal, then applied for the head men's basketball post at St. Francis Xavier University. On August 18th, 1975, he accepted the job, and he's never left. And when he does, it will be on his own terms dictated by a career that thus far has produced 675 wins in 32 years, 31 straight appearances in the Atlantic University Sport Playoffs by his X-Men, 3 national championships, 9 league titles, and 13 national tournament appearances. Steve had a 16-year stint as an assistant coach with the national team, followed by 4 years as head coach. St. Mary's Huskies basketball coach Ross Quackenbush played for Steve on some of those national teams.
He was a nice foil playing off of Jack Donahue and his style, so he wasn't exactly the same. He brought something different to the table. As an assistant coach, is more of a liaison, say, between the players and the coach, or he might have his ear more to the ground about just the mindset of the team and how they're feeling about, a variety of things, really. But I enjoyed those 4 years with Steve.
Steve holds membership in 4 different sport halls of fame and has a legion of fans from former players, coaches he's opposed, friends in the registrar's office at X because of his stellar record of seeing his players succeed academically, and he has fans right across the country.
I think Steve's had a monumental impact on Atlantic Canadian basketball coaching. When you look at his career, and I look at his career with tremendous respect, first of all, he's had longevity, and that's been self-chosen longevity, not only in this area, not only in Atlantic Canada and the AUS, but clearly at St. FX, where he's become an institution in terms of sports. He's had huge success. He's won 3 national championships. He made an almost unparalleled contribution in this country historically to the national team program. He was Jack Donahue's assistant for 16 years, and there couldn't have been a better assistant coach in the world to Jack Donahue than Steve Konchalski was.
Coach, I want to point out we tried to get some referees on tape, but none would talk. We tried. He's never lost the passion for the game. Despite being an Acadia grad, he developed a love for St. FX that was put in words when the coach wrote Silver to Gold, a chronicle of his 25th year at St. FX.
He's a coach who has really no enemies. He's a guy who everybody in the country has respected. Players who have come in contact with him, not only at St. FX, but throughout the national team program, have a huge amount of respect for him.
He recruits well, so he's always got good talent. His teams are always very well prepared, and they're always playing hard. He's passionate, he's very intense, he's really focused, he's very, very competitive. He's not going to let anything stand in the way of trying to win a basketball game. You know that he's, and I think that, filters down to his team because they're always playing hard. They always want to win.
Steve is a member of Acadia's Sport Hall of Fame as an athlete, a member of the Canadian Basketball Hall of Fame as a builder, a member of the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame as a player when he was with Acadia's 1965 National Championship team, a member of the St. FX Sport Hall of Fame, and tonight enters the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame. His leadership strength was recognized a few years ago when he was the inaugural recipient of the Frank Baldwin Award, presented by Basketball Nova Scotia, to a person who has contributed much to the game, just as Hall of Fame member Frank Baldwin did. None of this phases Coach K externally. He's generally a stoic man, except, of course, when the fire finds its way to a gut during a basketball game, and he's prone to assist the referees with their calls. But as we said earlier, he's a humble man, and he's always been a team player.